Life is filled with the unexpected. I know that sounds rather dramatic, sort of like it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Trust me, I've been through both, but then I suspect everyone who breathes in oxygen has experienced this. I started my career as a bank teller and eventually worked my way into the corporate office, taking on more and more responsibility. I liked my job and advanced quickly, but that driving ambition to succeed came with a price. I got so wrapped up and focused on my career, I didn't have time for relationships. Oh, I had a few close friends, but when it came to dating and true love, I blew it off, thinking there would be time for all of that later. Then one day I woke up and discovered the majority of my friends were married and raising families. When I did become interested in finding my soulmate, the men I dated, well, suffice it to say, and I'm being as kind as I can be, were a sorry disappointment. Then I met Paul Rose, and I fell head over heels in love. Within the first week, I knew he was the one. He was career military and hadn't married either. It felt like a miracle that I would meet this wonderful man when I'd given up hope of ever finding anyone. Just like the lyrics of a country western song, we got married in a fever. Paul was an airborne ranger, and a few months after he placed a diamond ring on my finger, he shipped off to Afghanistan, then died in a helicopter crash. It was as if life had hit me with an atom bomb. My husband, whom I'd loved so briefly, was forever gone from me. I've read books that talk about the different stages of grief. They were filled with good advice, most of which I ignored. I was in so much emotional pain that I could barely function. It took every ounce of energy I could muster to force myself out of bed. Overnight, everything, and I do mean everything, that I'd once considered important, my career, my home, my lifestyle, my hopes and dreams of one day having a family with Paul, was gone in the blink of an eye. Poof. Destroyed. Still reeling from the loss, I did the opposite of what everyone told me. Don't make an important decision the first year after the death of someone close. On a complete whim, I quit my corporate job and purchased a bed and breakfast and named it after my deceased husband. It became known as the Rose Harbor Inn. Rose, naturally, for Paul, and Harbor, because I'd gambled that this next unexpected curve in the roadway of my life would become a harbor of healing for me. And thankfully, it has. As a bonus, it seems the inn has the power to help others heal as well. I seldom mention this insight to people, for fear they'll suggest I consider counseling. Even now, almost 4 years later, I sometimes wonder if I'd imagined that first night I spent after moving in. I'd been half asleep. It might have been a dream. You know the kind where you aren't really asleep, but not fully awake either? Paul came to me in that dreamlike state, so real I was afraid to breathe for fear he would disappear. It felt as if all I had to do was reach out and touch him, but I knew I dared not. While it was enough that he stood next to me, and I could see him and feel his love for me, as a bonus, he spoke. Not that I heard the words out loud. They were spoken inside of me, in my heart. I know it's hard to believe, but I swear that's what happened. He told me as plain as anything that I would heal here, and all those who came to stay would find solace and healing of their own. Authentic or not, I've held on to that promise, clung to it with both hands, desperately wanting it to be true, desperately needed hope, a reason to continue. When Paul told me I'd heal, the last thing in my mind, and certainly in my heart, was the possibility of falling in love again. Finding Paul was miracle enough. I certainly didn't expect I could be so lucky again. But discovering love a second time was even more of a surprise than it was the first time. Certainly my relationship with Mark Taylor didn't start out as a love fest, but I'm getting ahead of myself.